Hey, Went Wrong World Entertainment, and of course we've just heard that DC Studios seems to be in total chaos behind the scenes, with announcements of all these projects and this director's in and this actor's been spoken to and this and that, and then it turns out, well actually this actor has now walked away, that showrunner has quit, these stories may or may not actually be happening, these ones are pretty much on hold, these ones aren't happening, and it just goes on and on and on. Now we're hearing an issue that is going to be a big issue when it comes to Batman the Brave and the Bold. Now we know that this movie is meant to be the story that is the comic books of Batman and his son Damian Wayne. We know that Andy Muschietti was brought on board after The Flash to direct this movie, but now news that should actually be concerning is that not just are they developing this story to be made for the big screen, but Andy Muschietti has actually no involvement in the story. Yeah, James Gunn apparently has taken over full control of Brave and the Bold with a writer who he, for some reason, has not announced who this writer is, but they have now informed everyone that Andy Muschietti will simply direct this thing and have basically zero say in anything in the movie. How exactly does that work? I don't know. And that everything about that says, yeah, Muschietti's not going to direct this thing. He's going to walk away. Let's have a look at this. Now, this is a part of this massive article on The Hollywood Reporter talking about all kind of the chaos that's happening behind the scenes, because Peter Safran and James Gunn did a press event on Friday that nobody knew about, and on Monday they were allowed to publish everything that they heard, and this is where we were hearing about the authority basically may not happen now, that it's not a priority anymore, the Booster Gold showrunner quit, all of this stuff. And Batman, of course, came up. And, of course, they were speaking more in terms of, is Robert Pattinson going to become the DCU's official Batman? Where they seem to rule it out, but then not completely rule it out. And there's so much contradictions between what Safran says and what Gunn says. And it's just like, it gets annoying. And, of course, James Gunn gets shown as how much of a liar he is again in the whole thing when it came to Clayface, which I'll touch on a tiny bit. It's not about the story or anything, it's about statements he made when he announced the whole DCU slate to what he's now saying. But let's have a look at this part with Brave and the Bold, because this makes no sense. But it says, DC Studios is developing The Brave and the Bold, centered on Batman and his son Damian Wayne. But although it was announced in 2023 that Andy Muschietti would direct the feature and be a producer on it, the filmmaker behind the Flash and It movies seems to be at arm's length from the project. We're developing the Brave and the Bold script right now, and he'll be the first one to see it, Safran said, referring to Muschietti, while also strongly implying the filmmaker is not involved in the project's development. Gunn went so far to say that he was now the driving force of the title. Everyone knows I love Batman and it's important to me, so I'm working very closely with the writer on Brave and the Bold, he said. The writer's name was not revealed. Gunn poured cold water that Patterson would star as Batman in Brave and the Bold, and bristled the word sharing the actor with Reeves. He said there were no serious conversations about the actor continuing his role into the broader DCU rather than staying in the separate universe of the Reeves world. So that's where they're kind of saying he's absolutely not coming to the DCU, as for now anyway. You know, that's what they're saying there. So the two things you hear there is Andy Muschietti is not involved in any capacity on the development of this story for Brave and the Bold, but James Gunn has completely seemed to take over the whole thing of developing this story. Not just is he kind of hiring the people that he said would be the best people for the job, no, he's now thrown himself fully into making that as well, with writer, what writer? Who bloody knows? It's probably Tom King. And we know Tom King will be involved because he's involved with all of this crap. The fact that Batman is one of their absolute key members to use, and that we know Warner Brothers and David Zaslav has been screaming at DC, hey, get Batman in production. James Gunn has been pretty much not moving forward at any great speed to introduce a new Batman. And now it's the case of, oh yeah, we've got a director, we've had him since 2023, everything else. He's just actually not going to have any involvement with the movie until it's ready to film. It's like, wait, what? What do you mean you're not going to have the director involved when you announce? It'd be different if they said, we have a script for Brave and the Bold, these are the people that wrote it, blah, 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 and then source it out for a director. No, this is the case of, they hired a director before they even started to develop this movie, and now that he's there, they're going, oh yeah, now we're going to develop the movie just without the director. He's going to have no involvement, no say. Everything about that says, yeah, he's going to walk away. Now, that little bit where you can also see contradictions is with James Gunn. Not just could you say, well, he's got obviously a big contradiction there when he says, or when he spoke about how he's looking forward to giving all these creators their voice in the DCU, and yet here he is again developing the story rather than giving it to someone else. He did it with Superman. He's doing it now with Batman. He's doing it with a few of the others. He was doing it with The Authority. He was doing it with Supergirl. All of this type of stuff. You're like, wow, you know, what creators are you bringing in that are actually having their own voice in this? None by the looks of it. But don't forget, he said in that initial slate announcement that anyone who plays a character in live action will be the person to play that character in animated form, and vice versa. If you voice a character in animated form, you will play that character in live action form. Well, he's seemingly gone back on that because Clayface debuted in Creature Commandos, and he was voiced by Alan Tudyk. And now, of course, they are moving forward with this body horror movie for Clayface. And of course, the question came about, hey, if this is actually happening, I'm assuming Alan Tudyk is actually going to be playing Clayface in the movie. Nope. No, he said, nope, that's not the case. Alan Tudyk is not playing Clayface in the movie. So right there, it's like, you literally said if you voice the character, you will play the character in live action, and vice versa. And already he's now gone back on that, and it's like, no. And of course, if you bring that up to him, he'll probably say, that's not what I said it this way, and that's not the case. By the way, we'll just touch on as well, he has discussed in this event what way things will be released in terms of how many movies a year and shows and stuff like that. It's a lot to start with. It's 6 projects a year he hopes to have out. And the way they want to do it is weird and interesting. So here's the plan. Movie slate, 3 movies a year. 2 live action and 1 animated. Yeah, you heard that right. That's correct. 2 live actions, 1 animated. And then on the streaming end of things, he wants 2 animated and 1 live action. So the complete opposite of the movies, but basically 6 projects a year is what he wants. So again, movie slate, 2 live action, 1 animated. TV slate, 2 animated, 1 live action. And it should be noted that it's very distinct how he announced that, because he did specify cinema and max. So he said for theatrical, I want 2 live action and 1 animated movie. For max, 2 animated and 1 live action. So he made the distinction that he's talking about 3 movies on the big screen, 1 of them will be animated, and 3 shows on streaming, 1 of them will be live action. So as you can see, it's chaos. It really is. I mean, he wants 6 projects out a year, and they can't even get around making 2 at this stage. It's like, it's a mess. It really is. But Brave and the Bold, the fact that he's making this, he's involved with it. He won't, for some reason, announce who the writer is, even though apparently there is a writer and they have been working on this script. But Andy Muschietti, the guy who he's praised and can't wait to work with and all this stuff. He's not letting be involved in any form in the development of that story. Interesting. Doubt Andy Muschietti is going to continue with this. So we'll wait and see. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.